Okay, welcome back to another episode of live streaming exposing D&D 5e monsters with me, Andrew. It's another Saturday night, 10 o'clock at night, and hopefully you're doing well. If you're watching this later on, thanks for watching. We'll get right into this. Doesn't seem like we have any requests at the moment, although Clawpaw has decided to try and either stay up or wake up at 4 a.m. Best thing for that, I would recommend biphasic sleeping. Go to bed, sleep for a couple hours, and then wake up. Ah, Clawpaw is here. Hello, Clawpaw. Excellent. I'm glad to see you could make it. I'm impressed. It is 4 in the morning, where, like you said, where you are. So, thanks for joining. All right, let me get to the live scene and let's jump right into this. All right, Clawpaw, do you have any recommendations? Do you want me to look at yours, or should we go on something else? I'm on 2 hours of sleep, and it's 4 a.m., but heck yeah. Yeah, I would recommend biphasic sleeping. I've done that a few times, and you get about 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and you can be up for a good, 1 or 2 hours before needing to go back to bed. At least that's how it works for me. Let's see here. Reset all of that. Okay. So yeah. Oh, just a moment. Let me see something here. All right. Had a second cat that wanted to be in the office with me for some reason. Yes, I did get your emails with your two monsters there. Let's see here, cause it could take a bit longer, these two. Yeah, they're definitely going to take some time. We can definitely look at one of them for sure and see where we're at, and we'll go from there. All right, let me see here. And go to here and then here. All right. So do you want, which one do you want? Do you want Clawpaw, or do you want what was it? Which one was it? Black Spear? Which one would you like? And don't hate me because of the weird phrasing. Oh, no, I took a quick look through it. Don't worry about it. I'm sure there's going to be some things that even I'm like, what? How do I pronounce that? Why don't we go with the Shadow Clawpaw? Is it Ragan or Reagan? How would you pronounce the first name there? The first part of the name. Just get rid of that. And oh, it's not. I hate it when it does that. Come on. There we go. Oh, that's going to shrink a little bit, of course. Okay. That should be good. Rargun. Okay. Rargun? I think Rargun probably works. Oh, let's get rid of those alerts. Steam, you need to go away. There we go. All right, let me get my highlighter, because I always forget to turn the highlighter on. And let's start looking at Rargan the Shadow Clawpaw. This should be pretty good, as it is a CR 30. Let's see what happens here. So, what do we have? Base information. Let's start with this. Rargan the Shadow Claw is a tabaxi, which is fantastic. So there's going to be some tabaxi racial abilities in here. But we do have AC of 25 and medium, as we stated before, with 80 D10. Okay, so that's off. It should be a D8 for medium humanoids. So let's get as close to 420, I see what you did there, as possible with medium size hit dice of D8s. And let's see here, 80 would give us 360, so if we want to get up to 420, all right, that's a little too high. 95, 94. And... Alright. Looks like we'll go with 94. So we got 423. Close enough. And then, let's see here. We got a Constitution bonus of 14 for +2 hit dice. Oh, yeah, I got to modify for that too. Shoot, I forgot about that part. Alright, so we got to come down some. Let's see here. 60. Too little. 65. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go with 65 hit dice. So we get closer to the 420 as we saw here in the hit points here. Speed of 50 feet, climb of 40 feet. Man, this is a fast tabaxi, but of course they should be. And then on top of that, we got 15 wisdom, 26 charisma, and as stated, should be a CR 30. All right. Now that we have our base information done for Clawpaw, let's move into the skills section here and see we have a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we have 3 saving throws, Dex, Wisdom, and Intelligence. So that will give us a +2 effective AC bonus. And I forgot to lift my chair. Wondering why everything felt so low. A whole bunch of skills, which is fantastic. Of course, if this is the class, I don't know. I don't remember if this is supposed to be a rogue or not. But let's see here. And here I'm sorry, 1-3. Don't worry about it, man. It's good. It's good. This is an interesting one, a fun one to look at. All right. So next up, we have damage vulnerabilities to fire. And because there's only the one condition, we don't have to worry about putting in vulnerabilities. I still stand by my statement of if it's 3 or more, then we would put it in. Okay, cool. So the base class is a rogue. Perfect. So that gives us all of the skill performances here. Next, we have damage resistances to piercing, poison, necrotic, and psychic. Now, here's the thing. This is a CR 30, so unfortunately, we're not going to get any kind of hit point bonus from that. And we do have 2 damage immunities as well, so we're not going to add those in either. So at the moment, Clawpaw here doesn't have any kind of extra bonuses there. I mean, like I said, I'll leave in resistances since there's a lot, but it's not going to modify anything because of how high the CR is. And then we have condition immunity, senses, languages, and environment that you can find Clawpaw at, and we will just move on from there. So next we have a whole bunch of monster traits, which is going to take a bit. And we have, let's see here, feline agility, double movement, and then you can't do the double movement again. Probably is going to be, that could be close. That could be similar to the orc aggressive, which as a bonus action, the creature can move up to its speed towards a hostile creature can see. So just for the heck of it, we'll throw that in, but it's not going to really amount to much of anything since it's a CR 30 and only gives us +2 DPR. After that, we have the Venterbruck's Blessing. This divine blessing protects Rogan from any hostile condition. If he is targeted by an effect that would inflict a negative condition on him, and this target does not require him to make a saving throw with disadvantage, or the creature who this effect originates from doesn't have advantage on this, the effect gets cancelled. Alright, if Rogan had to make a saving throw with disadvantage, he rolls with advantage. If the caster of this effect had advantage, they roll with disadvantage. Interesting. How can we play that? Let's see here. Alright, let me reread this real quick. Oh yeah, didn't know the thing about the resistance immunities. Yeah, it's really weird. Once the monster hits, I think it's CR 16, damage resistances don't count anymore. It's just too much. At that point, you would need immunities. All right, so the blessing. How does the blessing take into effect here? The effect gets canceled. So regardless, any kind of effect, as long as Rogan doesn't have disadvantage, it doesn't. So this is close to limited magic immunity, I would say. Close to that, the Rakshasa ability almost. Let's say Wizard gets advantage on blinding Rogan. Turns into disadvantage. Okay. If no advantage, Rogan is immune. Right. So this is like a this is like a modified version of limited magic immunity that the Rakshasa has. Rakshasa. And I would say probably something along the lines of either, what is it? Damage avoidance? Because the Demi-Lich, let's see here. If the creature is subject to an effect that allows it to make a saving throw to take only half damage, it instead takes no damage. If it succeeds on the saving throw, and only half damage if it fails. So what would the avoidance give us? +1 effective AC. I'm going to say this would probably give somewhere around the lines of a +5 AC bonus, because it's all effects that require a saving throw. So let's go with that. I'm going to say effectively we're going to bump the AC from 25 to 30 because of that blessing and how it works out. Just for the time being. We'll see what else goes on here. Northern fighting style. Due to his exotic fighting style, Rogan is unable to identify the way an opponent is unable to begins their attacks. His opponents are also unable to find out how Rogan will begin his turn and unable to proceed with any complicated maneuvers. Okay. This is good flavor. This is good flair. I'm going to suggest this has no effect on the CR whatsoever. So let's move on past that one. Revenant Scion. Rogan cannot be blocked in movement by creatures standing in his way, and enemies cannot get advantage on flanking him. When at least 2 more enemies than allies are within 10 feet of him, his attacks... Yeah, okay. His attacks deal an additional 1d6 radiant damage. Alright. When at least 2 more enemies than allies are within 10 feet of him, his attacks deal an additional 1d6 radiant damage. Alright, so we could apply this to like angelic weapon here, like the Deva has. And we are always expecting at least 2 enemies to be on our monster at any given time, or affecting us, especially with like heated body from the Azure. Yeah. The Northern Fighting Style, the NFS, or the Revenant Scion. But with the Revenant Scion, I'm going to say, what we got here? So 1d6 would be 3.5, plus 6 would be 9.5, so we'll put in 9 for the angelic weapon. So every attack is going to be getting an extra 9 points of damage. Okay, so Scion, yes, it's a passive skill. Okay. Yeah, so I would put that like angelic weapon here in the monster traits. Then we have Dual Wielder. Rogan gains +1 AC if he is dual wielding finesse weapons. He can also dual wield weapons that are heavy and with the 2-handed property. Alright, so we're going to give him a +1 effective AC bonus here. And we'll just use something like avoidance, just so we have it in there. Perfectionist. Rogan can use his dexterity as his spellcasting ability. Alright, that's good to know. I'm assuming that is put into play in the spellcasting section. Partner for life. Rogan gets the Pack Tactics bonus if turfing the Black Spear is within 10 feet of him. If turfing is reduced to 0 hit points, Rogan falls into a vengeful state, taking 2 actions instead of 1 for 3 turns. Ooh, cute. All right. So for the time being, we'll just put in Pack Tactics because we're expecting 3 rounds of combat, and if the buddy there does fall, then shit's gonna, the stuff's gonna break loose. Dual wielding, that's his funny feat. Yeah, it's dual wielding. I've heard back and forths about dual wielding, and I had a ranger that dual wielded. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. All right, so yeah, for partner for life, I would just go with the Pack Tactics for the time being, and then after that, 2 actions instead of 1. That would just basically double all of his output, but that depends on how long the partner stays alive, and I would assume the partner is alive for at least 3 rounds of combat. So we'll go with Pack Tactics for the time being on that. Then we have Sneak Attack, once per turn when having advantage on a hit. The hit is a critical hit, or if the target is within 5 feet of another enemy, Rogan deals an additional 30 damage. Okay. Simple enough. Curious. Let me see something here. Actually, I think that's going to be a little higher because, let's see here. D6, you have, what was it, 10 D6? Yeah, we have 3.5 times 10. So your sneak attack actually should be doing 35 points of damage. That's supposed to be a normal sneak attack. So are we looking at like level 20 rogue sneak attack? What is that? Let's see here. Players, classes. Just gonna double check the rogue sneak attack table here real quick. But yeah, update that so you get 35 damage. Ah, yes, okay. So the level 20. All right, cool. I'm just waiting for my thing to come up here, my sidebar item. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, yep. All right. So level 20 rogue, 20 or 10d6. Yeah, so it should be 35 average damage there for that one. All right, we'll leave that up. And let's see here. So considering the level of this rogue, more than likely they would be hiding every round anyways with a bonus action probably. So, or working with the partner to always have the ability to sneak attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in an additional 35 to the angelic weapon here. And we're going to consider that, of course, Roggen is going to always get sneak attack every round. So now we're looking at an additional 44 damage per round every round. All right, so I'm going to butcher this this word here, Fjord du Bloc. I'm terribly sorry about that if I have butchered that. But let's see here. For this ability, once per long rest, Roggen summons 2 identical copies of himself. All of these copies have their initiative right after Roggen's. They all have half of Roggen's hit points, the same AC, and can make 2 attacks each. Every other effect or ability except his legendary actions is usable by Roggen's clones. If the original Roggen is reduced to 0 hit points, the clones disappear. So, let's see here. You butchered it too. Okay. Well, at least at least we both are in a spot with pronouncing it, excuse me. All right, so for this trait, I'm going to suggest it doesn't actually increase his CR whatsoever because it's creating copies that are more or less, I'd say maybe 0.25% less in his CR. This is just going to increase the difficulty of the encounter. So if you had set this encounter for deadly, then it might up it to like impossible. Because there's the varying, we have like easy, then we have medium, hard encounters, deadly encounter generators have gone even further than deadly and gone to impossible. So, if your players are trying to face off against Roggen and his companion, then more than likely you would probably either have this as a deadly encounter, and then the clones from this ability here would probably bump it into probably an impossible encounter. So I'm going to say that doesn't affect the CR whatsoever for the time being. Next we have spellcasting. So let's see here. We have a whole bunch of spells. Psychic Screen, Illusory Dragon, Mirage Arcane, working from the bottom up, Psychic Crush, Wall of Ice, Dominate Person, Maelstrom, Dream, Charm Person, Hallucinatory Terrain, Phantasmal Killer, Polymorph, and the list goes on. So we have a whole bunch of amazing spells here. And a bunch of them are going to be doing a lot of damage. Question is, are they worth looking at or not? For the time being, I'm going to skip these and we'll come back to it. I was talking to, I left a couple comments on Nerd Immersion's video about this new book that came out. And Wizards and D&D are looking to change how spellcasters' stat blocks look. so that now basically spellcasting is going to be all just control spells, and then anything that they would do for damage, like a fireball, now becomes an action that isn't a spell that could be counterspelled. It's an interesting setup. So we're going to skip spellcasting for the time being and come back to this if we need to. I doubt we will. So let's move on to the actions. We have a multi-attack. Rargan makes 2 attacks with his weapons. So we can do either a whole bunch of them. Let's see here. Claws, Spider's short sword, Sunshine scimitar. Let's see here. Petrus legacy and Fimbulventra. Excuse me. Butchered another one. So we have a whole bunch of finesse weapons. Really, a whole bunch of fantastic ones. Yeah, if you haven't seen the video, check out Nerd Immersion. And one of his most recent videos was this Minsk and something or other, a new book that just like shadow dropped on the DM's Guild. And it was on there for like 8 hours, and then the book disappeared. And yeah, he was talking about the new stat blocks and whatnot. All right, so let's jump back into the actions here for weapons. We have 5 of them, and let's see here. We have plus 10 to hit, plus 11, plus 8 to hit. Okay, plus 8. Curious why there's a whole bunch of different pluses to hit. Considering they're all finesse weapons, they should more or less all be doing the same 2 hit. Because if they're finesse, then they'll definitely be using Rargan's dexterity bonus of plus 8. And that would be, what we got here? Proficiency bonus for a CR 30 is what? 9 plus 8 for dexterity. So all of this should be plus 17 to hit. So I'm going to go with that because technically, if all of these are finesse weapons, Rargan should be using plus 17 to hit. So we're going to go and put that in there. And let's see what else we got here. So then claws, first weapon. Finesse plus bunch to hit. And then we got here, what is that? So 3d6, or 2d6, excuse me, would be 3.5. So it'd be 7. So 11 slashing damage. So it would be 11. And then, let's see here. Rargan attacks twice with his claws. If one of these attacks is a critical hit, the target must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or be blinded for a bunch of rounds. All right. Since it's standard, criticals, I don't see anything that increases the range of the criticals. I'm not going to count in the blinding, but I will double the amount of claw attacks here. So we got, let's see here, 11 times 2. Yeah, for the 2 hit, it's simply either going to be based off of strength plus proficiency or dexterity plus proficiency. And since rogues are dex monkeys and always working with their dexterity, we would just take their dexterity of the plus 8 here and add it to either whatever the proficiency bonus is. Technically, a level 20 player would have plus 6, but since this is supposed to be a CR 30, we would use the 9 proficiency bonus here and just add that into either the strength or dex. Same goes for DC checks as well, and for spellcasters 2-hit bonuses. So let's see here. So the claws. The claws are 22 points of damage from 1 quick swipe from that. Then we have Spider's short sword, which should be, let's see here, 2D, or a D8 would be, half of that would be 4.5, times 2 would be 9 plus 6, so we're looking at 15 for that. So 15 damage, and then an additional necrotic damage, so that would be 4.5 plus 2, so 6.5 for that. So we're looking at 21.5 there for the Spider short sword. And if a creature is hit by this weapon, it must make a strength save. If it fails, magic cobwebs sling around the target's body. The target is now restrained. The target can use its action to free itself. Okay, so that's cool. If we need it, I will add in the AC bonus for restraining someone there. But more than likely, these other weapons here are probably going to be doing a bunch more damage. So let's see what we have here. Sunshine Scimitar. And he can dual wield. So we're going to be using at least 2 of these different weapons here. Let's see here. So we have D12, so that would be 6.5 plus 5, so 11.5 there. 1 second, let's see here. Another condition. What could happen with that later? True. Alright, so far we have 11.5 damage for the Sunshine Scimitar. And then what else does it have? If Rogan critically hits, failed save, a bunch of radiant damage. And a failed save the target. Let's see here. Wait, alright, I gotta read this a bit. Alright, so the Sunshine Scimitar only works if it crits. So there is the rider there. So let's see here. Constitution checks. 6. Okay. Ooh, Dimension Door at spell at will. Interesting. All right. So for the time being, the Sunshine Scimitar is only going to be doing 11.5 points of damage because we need the crit to happen, and that's only 5% of the time. Technically, we could say 10% because you're swinging twice, so there's a 10% chance possibly of getting a crit with the Sunshine Scimitar, but because of that, I'm going to leave that there and not add in the extra damage. Yes, we do take best case scenarios for the monsters, but a critical is so far and few in between that I'm not going to count it in unless there was some way of increasing the critical range. So, for instance, if the range went from 17 to 20, then I would say, okay, let's add in the critical damage. But since it's only on a 20, I'm not going to count it in. Next, we have Petra's Legacy. And this is another finesse weapon that can be thrown. We're looking at, let's see here. Wow. All right, there's a lot here. So we have, what was that? 6.5 plus, let's see, 5.5 times 5 for the poison damage. On a hit, the target is poisoned and suffers, okay, additional damage at the start of a turn. If a creature has immunity to poison damage, it suffers only half the damage. If a creature is immune to the poison condition, it may roll a Constitution saving throw with advantage. If it succeeds on if it succeeds, going on. So we will add in the extra point of damage as well, because we are going to consider it as well. So then we would add in, let's see here, was that 2.5 for a d4 times 4. So the spear, I think this Petra's Legacy, you throw it, but I think you're only going to get the one. Yeah, because let's see here. So this is a throwing weapon? Okay. Clawpaw, is this Legacy, this Petra's Legacy, is this like a spear that you throw, or is it some kind of a bow? Oh, interesting. Immunities can be countered with special conditions. Cool. Okay, so this is a dagger. All right. Curious. All right, so melee damage attack, throw. Oh, all right. So you could still stab with it, though. All right, that makes sense then. All right. Yeah, because I saw the throwing, but I didn't see like the 5 foot. Oh yeah, the other ones don't have. Okay, it makes sense. Don't worry. What else we got here? Okay, so let's move on to the last one here, the Fimbulventer. I know I've butchered it. Another finesse weapon. So we have, let's see here. What do we got for this? We have 6.5 times 2 plus 6 for a total of 19 points of damage, and an additional 6.5 times 4 of cold damage for a total of 45 for the for this weapon. And let's see here, this damage does not get reduced by resistances. The weapons crit on a 19 and 20, and if it does so, the target makes a con saving against Rargan's spell saves. All right, this would increase it to 10%, and if we were to attack with this weapon twice, we would see 20%. What was my logic here? In theory, we would probably see 1 crit at least from this weapon. Because if you were to attack specifically with this 5th weapon here 2 times, there's a higher chance of seeing it. And I suggest that because some monster traits have a recharge of 6. And you can use that once. And the recharge of 6 is something like, 12.5% chance or 16% chance of happening again when you roll the dice. A 1 out of 6 chance. I have a calculator here. Come on now, Andrew. Jeez. So yeah, we're looking at 16% chance of coming back. Because this weapon has a 19 to 20, that means it's got 10% on its first attack. And if you attack again, we have another 10%. So I know the math isn't perfect, but we have somewhere between 10 to 20% in that 1 full round of combat attacking twice with this. So we might see this, the critical for this. And if it does crit, the target needs to make a spell save DC. On a failed save, the target is paralyzed for 1d4 minus 1 turns, minimum of 1. All right, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on here. If the saving throw fails, the target takes an additional 6.5 cold damage. The creature can suffer multiple frozen spots. Okay. Paralyzing is the Hold Person spell, and Hold Person is a level 2 spell, which would be technically plus 12 effective DPR. And then we also have this cold damage. So we'll add this in as well. And we're looking at roughly 63.5 points of damage from this last weapon. So, more than likely, Rargan would want to use this twice. So this is the weapon... Oops, don't do that. We would want to do this 2 times in combat. We're looking at roughly 127 points of damage. Well, give or take 12 because of the whole paralyzing thing, if the crit does go off. You know what? I'm gonna say we're gonna subtract 12 from this just because I'm only expecting the paralyze to go off once, not twice. So we're gonna tone that down just a little bit and bring that back to 115 for the multi-attack. So this is the actions. Let's move on to the reactions and see what we have here, and then move on to legendary actions. So for our reactions, we have Roguish Swiftness. Rargan can use the Cunning Action, Uncanny Dodge, and Evasion and Elusive abilities. Alright, cool. Cunning Action is just like the Nimble Escape. So we're going to give Rargan the Nimble Escape and giving him +4 effective AC and attack bonus. And then after that, what do we have here? Evasion as well. Evasion is like Avoidance, so that's the same thing as that. So we still need +1 more effective AC here. So Constrict, we'll just throw that in to work those 2 sections in. And then what else do we have here? Uncanny Dodge, which would... What would we do with Uncanny Dodge? Because that would reduce damage by half. For 1 attack, but that uses the reaction. I'm going to stick with this just for now. There's a lot going on here, and actually a new thing that's coming to the stat blocks. Let's see here, before I continue on with that thought. Oh yeah, sorry for these. I didn't know how to include them. The new stat blocks, like I was telling you before, that Nerd Immersion was pointing out, they're including bonus actions into a stat block. So they have their own section now, just like the reactions have here. So you could easily just put in bonus actions and say, you know, uncanny, or what was it? Not evasion, but cunning actions, just like the rogues get normally, and then uncanny dodge and evasion would be the reactions like they can normally do. Although I think, what was it? Uncanny dodge action. So this would be something like you could just put in free actions or something as its own section or something to that effect. Or maybe even, actually, you could break that up into the monster traits section and say, you know, uncanny dodge up here, once per round, half damage to one attack. And that should be taken into consideration because that is giving hit points in a way. How much? You can't determine how much that's going to cost though. So we have to skip that. There's going to be no immediate effect, unfortunately, to like uncanny dodge. All right. So moving on, we have Arcane Trickery. When an enemy is casting a spell 15 feet or less away from Rargan, he can dash towards this unit, making an opportunity attack. The target has to succeed on an intelligence saving throw or fail to cast the spell. When moving, Rargan does not provoke attacks of opportunity. Okay, does not spend any of his movement points. All right. So this would be similar to, let's see here. What was it? Rampage. When the creature reduces a creature to 0 hit points with a melee attack on his turn, the Gnoll can take a bonus action to move up to half its speed and make a bite attack. This is similar, and I really think the DPR should be higher than just +2. But for the time being, for Arcane Trickery, we're going to apply the Rampage trait here. It's very similar. And would happen more or less on the same frequency. And then lastly, for the reactions, we have Like a Shadow. At the start of the round, Rargan can completely avoid one attack, including all damage and effects of it. If he does so, he cannot take any action or bonus action. Curious. Okay. That one's a very tricky one. I like it. How would we... Let's see here. I would say probably something similar to Shadow Stealth. This is very similar to Shadow Stealth and would give a +4 effective AC bonus. But here's the thing. And actually I'm going to tick off the Rampage as well. At the moment, these are all using its Rargan's reaction. So we only get one reaction, and we have to pick the best one. The best ones probably are going to either be Like a Shadow or Evasion. And Evasion and Like a Shadow are more or less doing the same thing. So what I'm going to suggest here is then, let me remove that and give... Now, because Like a Shadow would cut out any actions and bonus actions. So that's like a dire situation here. I'm going to put the other ones back and skip Like a Shadow for the time being because it totally nerfs Rargan's damage outputs for that one turn. So let me put the other ones back in just for the heck of it. Yeah, Like a Shadow is like the it's like a oopsie daisy kind of button, like, oh, I need to protect this character from dying kind of thing, and only should be used in the most dire of situations. But if anything, I would consider it something along the lines of Shadow Stealth with +4 AC bonus, effective AC. All right, now moving into the legendary actions. Let's see. Crook, Darid. Butchered that. Rargan can summon up to 2 mage hands. These hands are invisible and cannot be targeted by an effect, attack, or spell. Rargan can use a bonus action to use their feats. The mage hands have the following abilities. So the mage hand can make an unarmed attack for 5. All right. With some critical stuff, but they don't probably have an improved critical. Can use bonus action to use these feats. Okay. Mage hand can bring smaller items. Mage hand can use smaller items such as darts, daggers, and so on. Mage hand can distract a creature by bumping into it, throwing sand, or similar effects. So effectively, you could give these 2 mage hands like more or less a familiar. These are more or less, looks like they're familiars here. Oh, they're not supposed to be bonus actions to use them? Are they acting on their own account like a familiar would? You would tell the familiar to do something. Oh, right. So this should be done as a legendary action. So you would be controlling the mage hands as a legendary action. Okay. So the next question is, does it cost... How many points does it cost to do the legendary action? Is this a 1 point cost, or a 2, or a 3? Because there should be a limit on the number of legendary actions that every monster can do. So... generally speaking, most monsters have 3. I think the highest was, so far that I've seen, was the Dragon Queen there. What's her name? I lost her name. Shoot. She has 5, but that's because most of her legendary actions require 2 points to use. I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Shoot. Hold on. It's going to bug me if I don't get it. Tiamat, there we go. Tiamat has 5 legendary actions, but that's because the majority of her heads that can be used as legendary actions cost 2 points each. So it's once per turn. That's the problem. It's once per, so you would want to only be able to use these 2 mage hands once per turn. So then technically that would be 3. Yeah. Shia did dragon. Yeah. So if you want the hands more or less to be only once per round, then I would say give this like a 3 point cost to be able to do this. What else can these things do here? Or I can use a bonus action and target one creature holding an item or weapon. That creature must succeed on a competing strength check. On the failed save, the creature gets disarmed, and both mage hands transport the weapon to Rargan, excuse me, or a spot he can see. Interesting. Okay. Lots of stuff going on here. I'm going to suggest that even though they do a little bit of damage, there's a lot of effective stuff going on here. And I'm going to say that this one isn't really doing anything immediately. There's so many different possibilities, it's really hard to say which one would be better than the others. It's all very situational. Let's see. Distract a creature by bumping into it. Because, like, you know, with point number 4 here, this one could be worth, you know, like a +1. It could be like the help action from like a familiar. This one could be similar to disarming and reducing. Yeah, this one's tricky. I'm going to suggest that there's nothing immediate at the time being for this. And then the last one, I'm not even going to bother pronouncing for legendary actions, is a once per turn, Rargan chooses up to 10 creatures in sight. Rargan use an action for the following effect. Rargan makes a ranged spell attack using his charisma modifier against the highest AC of these creatures. On a successful hit, if one of those chosen creatures suffers from a hostile effect that the others do not have, this effect gets inflicted onto them. Alright, let's see here. Chosen creature suffers from a hostile effect. So this is kind of like a mirror. Sounds like this legendary action mirrors the attack back. Perfect Saboteur. Okay, in Irish. Oh, alright. Yeah, I don't know how to even go about pronouncing that. So this would be some kind of a spell reflection, because that's what it looks like to me. You know, if the target of this legendary action is affected, then it would bounce back to the caster, it seems. Okay, so let's say one person of 5 is poisoned. All of them are now poisoned. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Oof. Yeah, It's fantastic, but I'm going to go with no immediate effects either on that for the time being. I like that. There's just really no way to really work it out and see what's going on here. All right. And then lastly, we have some regional effects. The paw claws, when on solid ground such as cobblestone, Roggen has advantage on being knocked prone. Okay, makes sense. And milky slyness, when Roggen is in cities, deserts, or white locations, he has advantage on stealth checks. Cool. Interesting. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. For the for this saboteur one, this goes with blinded, restrained, burning, etc. Nice. All right. So for the time being, let's see what we have here. So legendary actions aren't really adding any direct damage. Sorry for hitting the mic if that made any kind of a sound. So yeah, all right. I'm just going to go with multi-attack for the time being. We probably have some spells that might also take into this, might also affect this, but let's see what we have here so far. Ooh, we are close. Look at that. Let's see here. My players who see this will wheeze because of the I'm sorry, didn't notice. No worries. All right, so far we are looking at roughly a CR 29. But I have a feeling that because of... Actually, hold on. No. This should be much higher. Let's see here. The effective AC. Let's take a look at this. What do we have for effective AC? We have 38 right now because of everything that's going on here. This is not a 29. All right. The chart stops at 30. This is the problem here. So let's get my calculator back out. And we have an effective AC of 38, right? Minus the expected 19. So that gives us 19. And when we divide that out, we bump it up 9. This is being bumped up 9 times. So we're going from a DCR 21 to a DCR 30. Oh, no, that is... No, wait. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wow. That is right. How is that even possible? Huh. Let me double check some stuff here. Let me think here. Yeah, 38 effective AC. Because of all these bonuses, my man. You know, nimble escape from the uncanny dodge is a big one. And then we had saving throws. We had, what else? Oh, the magic immunity thing that I threw in there for an additional 5. So yeah, there's a lot of effective AC going on here. So yeah, all right. I guess that worked out properly. So that is a DC 30. So the next thing would be looking at the spells then and seeing if we can pull any more magic out of that. How is this possible with the cursed power of broken homebrewing? So far, it's not exactly broken. It is working out so far. Let's take a look here and see what we get for these spells, though, because I'm sure we can bump this up a little more here. All right. Let's see what we get for some of these spells. So I'm going to try and do these quick here. Psychic Scream. Come on. Psychic Scream is a 9th level spell. All right. And it is 1 action. So that would be an effectively, or no, does this do damage? Let's see here. Target takes, okay, so that is here. So let's see. I should have this as a spell. How much damage is this one doing? Psychic Scream is doing 98 damage as well as stunning. If a target is killed by the... It explodes. If it has one. Assuming it has one, that is. Stun target. And it would also stun. So that's a whole bunch to think in there. Yeah, so far we're a little underrated technically, or no, we're only 1 OCR overrated, or CR overrated. Let's see here. What other spells we have? Illusory Dragon. Illusory Dragon might... Is that on here? No. Alright, so that's not on the list. Is that a CR? Let's see here. Okay, so Illusory Dragon is an 8th level spell. And that's 49 DPR. Alright, so what else do we have? Actually, your Psychic Scream is a 9th level spell. That one needs to be updated too. Mirage Arcane. Oops. Oh no. Shoot. Alright, hold on. Come on. Mirage Arcane. Alright. Let's see here. What's this? A 7th level spell. Right. Alright. Mirage Arcane. Do I have that one written in? I do not. So that one might be worth 59 to 70. What else? Psychic Crush. Alright. Let's look at 6th level. I'm typing these up and not realizing they're already here for me. OP. Alright, so Psychic Crush isn't there, as well as, let's see here, Wall of Ice. Where is Wall of Ice? Oh, Wall of Ice is a 6th level spell. Okay. Oh, yeah, it is. Am I? Oh, I'm on the wrong. Darn it. So Psychic Crush isn't there, but Whirlwind, Wall of Ice. Why is that not on here? I guess it's not doing any. No, it should be showing some. Here we go again. There we go. Wall of Ice. At base, we would be seeing 105, but if we were to bump that up all the way to CR, if we were to bump it up to spell level 8, we could get 133 points of damage out of it. Alright, so right there we could use, let's dump this down a little bit, and oh wow, actually yeah, and let's see here, Wall of Ice is concentration, so this is a high level concentration spell. If we use it at spell level 8, we would be doing this. So let's see here. This is already going to throw everything off, which is going to be fun. So first round, we would cast Wall of Ice in a way that causes our players to hit this ice every turn. So we're expecting 2 targets every time to be hit by Wall of Ice at spell level 8. Then on the next round, we would expect the Wall of Ice again, plus now we're multi-attack. We're doing the multi-attacking, right? And then after that, we would just copy rounds 2, and now we've hit CR 30 and beyond. So let's see here. What are we looking at? So we have a 17, and that's 4. So let's see here. 4 would put that at, sorry, hold on. 17, 13 is 4 plus 2. Something off? Oh, no, that's right. Effective ace, excuse me, the effective attack bonus is 22. So that would be, let's see here. 13 and 22 is what, 9? Yep. And then divide by 2, we have 4.5. So that bumps it into OCR 31 if we use Wall of Ice. And then if we can sustain damage with Wall of Ice for 3 rounds of combat, as well as then following up with the multi-attacks, Rargan's OCR turns into a 31. And then, coupled with the DCR 30, we're actually looking at a final CR of 31. So, right now, Rargan technically is underrated at 31. Not too far off, which is really good. And that was the first one there. Alright, so let's see here. That's quite a low damage output with what I expected. Well, wait until you get 240 plus damage per round on that next one. Oh no. Well, here's the thing. 248 on rounds 2 and 3, and we have an average of 209. That's if we have the Wall of Ice out, sustaining damage against 2 targets every round, and then doing the multi-attack. Then we can get over 200 points of damage, and we're getting CR 30 and above for your custom monster here. Okay, cool. 31 is kind of cool. Close to 30, but a bit more. Yes, it's only a little bit over. And there you go. This was indeed an intense homebrew exposing, but luckily it's not too terribly underrated. Yeah, once we got the spellcasting into play, and more than likely probably one of these level 9 or 8 spells would have really added to it as well. Yeah, you've got a pretty fun and dangerous character here for Rargan the Shadow Clawpaw. And that brings us to the hour. Let me switch over to my ending soon, because it is now time for me to end the... This was fun. This was a good one. That was that was a lot. Yeah, it's already time, surprisingly enough. It is now 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast here over in New York, and time to wrap it up. Yes, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Clawpaw, for being able to join up. I was not sure what to expect with this, and luckily it wasn't too crazy of a homebrew. I've seen some that were really wonky, like we saw with the sand golem. Let's see here. Thank you again for doing these, not only for Rargan. No, you're very welcome, and I'm glad you enjoy it, and I'm glad you were able to work out, waking up after about 2 hours of sleep to come hang out with me over here for the time being. Yep, 5 a.m. and time for breakfast. Ooh, good luck with that. Hang out for a couple hours and then go back to sleep for another couple hours if you can. Well then. With that, thank you so much, Clawpaw, for being here for the entire live stream as we worked through one of your homebrew characters. It was an enjoyable experience for a CR 30 monster or character. And let's see here. Yeah, waking up is the hard part. Anyways, thank you so much for joining. And if anyone else has watched this and has made it all the way to the end, you're awesome. Clawpaw, you're awesome. And this is me, Andrew, asking, are your encounters even rated? Thanks, everyone. Good night. Good morning. Take care.